on, there's some more news now coming in from Israel in connection to Palestine. Viewers, a 21-year-old Palestinian man has died while in Israeli custody. The Palestinian Authority has said this amid escalating violence and arrests across the occupied West Bank. Abdul Rahman al-Sabatin from the town of Hassan near the Bethlehem died late Tuesday at a hospital in Jerusalem after being detained by Israeli forces in June. His family said he showed no signs of illness during their last court visit in late November. The death comes as Israeli forces carried out wide-scale arrest operations across the West Bank, detaining more than 100 Palestinians in overnight and dawn raids, according to Palestinian prisoner advocacy groups. Areas targeted included Nablus and Salwad, with witnesses reporting home searches and property seizures. Rights groups say at least 94 Palestinians have died in Israeli detention since October 2023, citing allegations of abuse and medical neglect. The United Nations has also raised concerns over detention conditions. The West Bank has seen a sharp rise in violence since the Gaza war began, with over 1,000 Palestinians reportedly killed. Israeli authorities this week approved hundreds of new settlement housing units, drawing criticism from Palestinian officials and international rights groups. And I now request Dan to join us back in this discussion. Dan, the UN Human Rights Office has separately confirmed at least 75 deaths during the same period, and saying that the authorities in Israel have deliberately imposed conditions of detention that amount to torture and other forms of ill treatment. How do you see this situation evolving?
Not very well. I fear that Hamas is emboldened by having largely survived somehow the war that they provoked with Israel. Their intention always was to spread the word of the West Bank. By the way, their strategy involves bringing about the deaths of Palestinians. So the more Palestinians suffer and are killed and are tortured as Israel tries to defend itself, the happier Hamas is, because that has the effect of trashing Israel's international reputation and sparking talks of boycotts and legal action against Israel. That said, though, the situation in the West Bank is obviously completely unsustainable. I mean, the settlements that Israel's placed all over the territory create a situation where Jews have the right to vote for the government that essentially governs them, which is Israel, whereas the Palestinians, sometimes right across the street in a village across from a settlement, simply don't. Some of the Palestinian areas are part of the Palestinian Authority, that's true, but the Palestinian Authority is largely a municipal operation. The real dressed up is a national representation, but the real power lies with Israel, and the Palestinians in the West Bank cannot have a say in who runs that polity. So it's a messy and awful situation where no one is really in the right. Israel sort of has no choice at the moment but to do these raids and to try to round up Hamas people that are absolutely up to no good. But on the other hand, the fundamental reality they're trying to protect is itself impossible and is bound to blow up in everyone's faces. It's quite bad that Hamas is emboldened in this way. I can only hope that the world, the Americans, the Europeans, the Arab countries, including Qatar, make very clear to Hamas that they have to adhere to the terms of the Trump 20-point plan, and they must disarm and must give up control of Gaza, the interior of Gaza, which is where almost all the people are, which they continue to rule, and that is a tragedy for the Palestinians.
All right, thank you, Mark, for your comments there and for joining us here at NewsX World, and I'd like to go with that. Viewers, let's move on. There's some news coming in. Now, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi have held a telephonic conversation this evening. Both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening the India-Israel strategic partnership. During the call, the two leaders expressed satisfaction over the continued momentum in bilateral ties and agreed to deepen cooperation for mutual benefit across key sectors. They also strongly condemned terrorism and reiterated a zero-tolerance approach towards terrorism in all its forms. Prime Minister Modi and Netanyahu exchanged views on the evolving situation in West Asia as well. Modi reaffirmed India's consistent support for efforts aimed at achieving a just and durable peace in the region. And I now request our retired Major General Sudhakar Ji, International Relations and Defense expert, to join us here. Thank you, Sudhakar Ji, for joining us here at NewsX World. Now, Netanyahu calls Prime Minister Modi and briefs him on the West Asia situation. Prime Minister Modi has also met with Putin just a few days back and said that he should go for war. Now, Trump, who is claiming to have mediated 8 wars and in fact solved them, many of the deals that he seems to have brokered are not standing the test of time. Just some conflicts just a day after the peace deal was brokered are being violated, the ceasefire and the peace efforts. Do you see Prime Minister Modi filling that gap and taking up leadership in negotiating and mediating international wars?
Kriti, good evening. Thank you for getting me for your show. Very relevant question you have asked. And in fact, every countryman within our country itself has been asking the same question. More of this. Yes, he is capable, he can handle, he is competent, and I am personally confident as a retired soldier. I see a lot of wisdom in our Honorable Prime Minister to take the issue to a logical conclusion of peace and normalcy. But if you allow me, through your very esteemed and distinguished international channel, I have a humble submission to our Honorable Prime Minister and the leadership of India, not to meddle in international brokering of peace. These are very, very complex issues. Middle East issue is not yesterday's issue. It's an issue which has been contested for over past 1400 years, more than 1400 years, between Shia and Sunni. It's a battle of Shia and Sunnis. And more we learn about it, you realize that lesser you have actually gained. So it requires excessive effort. You have to compromise your time, your effort for your country's goals in order to achieve such kind of global objectives. That is one. Secondly, whenever international negotiations are carried out, the leadership has to have clout and the weight. When I talk about clout and weight, it comes from the economic might, from the military might, from the legacy of having accomplished or at least asserted one's authority for a long time. That India has a long way to go, unfortunately. We are just about 4.19 trillion economy. We are ambitious. We want to become a global power by 2047. We have miles to go before we sleep in order to make sure that our people don't go hungry. People who are below the poverty line are lifted up permanently. Our per capita income goes up from $2,800 US in terms of PPP to 14,000 to 20,000 US dollar. Only then we can become a global economy. Our literacy rate has improved significantly from, let's say, 17-18% at the time of independence to 76%. We need to close in as high as possible to 90, maybe 100%. We have medical care. We have, roti, kapda, makan. Then came the road and pani, bijli, and thereafter the digital platforms have come in a big way. We have a long way to go. We have lots of milestones to be achieved within our country. And therefore, I would strongly recommend not to go in for international negotiations or mediation of peace and normalcy in situations obtaining in Middle East. It's a very complex, very complicated situation. You make a commitment today, within hours it is flouted like it is happening now. Nobody is listening to Donald Trump, will listen to India. It's a pragmatic response I have given for whatever penny is worth, Kriti, and I hope you will take it in the spirit in which I have conveyed. Yes, so, he enjoys the credibility, the international credibility about Narendra Modi and India. India as a nation, we keep quiet on issues which are turbulent. We don't unnecessarily, violate the principles of diplomacy and dialogue. Okay, it's a very mature state. We have learned it's a civilizational value system which has been passed on to the present dispensation. And the country has come a long way after independence. Everyone thought in the Western Hemisphere that we are going to last not more than 24 hours as a democracy. We have been a successful and largest democracy for past 78 years.
Well,
So
Sudhakarji, for now, Prime Minister Modi has only affirmed his support to the Gaza peace plan. So we don't know what ambitions he has in resolving the wars. But thank you for your comment there, and I do see your point. With that, viewers, we move on. Thank you, Sudhakarji, for joining us. Viewers, there's news from Morocco where at least 22 people were killed and 16 others injured overnight when two adjoining buildings collapsed in